Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, at the last minute, I got something in the mail to unbox, and I forgot what it was called. I hate to say, kind of embarrassed to say that. So when I posted it up on YouTube, I was kind of lazy, didn't look it up, I didn't research it, and state what it was. That's cool. Um, we'll just keep it short, sweet, and get right to it. This is the Nanotech, the camo suit um, by MC Toys that was from Infinity Wars that we see Tony wearing. The body that I have for it would probably be, uh, I think the only body I have for it is my Mark V Iron Man suit body right now. So I'll even have to get a body for it. I don't even have a body for it. This came out about, I guess, about a year ago, right? And there was a couple of companies that were offering this little camo nanotech suit. At the time, I didn't have the money to pick it up, and they sold out. So I got it from. For MC Nano Combat Suit. There you go. Number F-080. I'm waiting for my computer to say something other than welcome. So I have no comments. Oh, the screen went black. Oh, the screen went black. Did it twice. Maybe something is about to happen. We've been watching this television series called, when the coronavirus is a scare to you, you should comfort yourself with entertainment to take your mind off of that. So we've been watching a television series called Z Nation. Cute, funny, clever. I guess we're on season 4. We've been binge watching this television series. It's a zombie apocalypse themed story. Perfect to get your mind off coronavirus, right? Come on, you stupid computer. That's what's in the box. This is about about $80 thereabouts. That's what this costs. Comes with a little cover for an existing chest light up. So the body that I used for my Mark V racing suit. Does this help any? Is the mech test came with that. I don't remember. Because I have more or less 2 bodies that could have been displayed with the Hall of Armor up there, right? 2 different Tonys. And so one of them up there is displayed. Another one I decided to use for the racing suit. Now, the racing suit, we actually never see the chest piece on him. I've unzipped his coat enough that you can see that, but it's not a necessity. So what I'll probably going to do right now is use that body for this because this we see, right? And it's lit up, right? So why not? And then get a new body for that. I'm kind of getting disappointed about this racing suit anyhow. I talked about it before. The doggone thing's falling apart. And that's really disappointing. All right, I'm on the desktop screen. Let's get Google open. Come on, man. By the way, so like on another reason I really couldn't look it up was because my computer was like it was not functioning properly. I'd updated my antivirus software, and it shut off my internet capability and all my video game capability. I didn't know that at the time. I couldn't figure out what it was. I kept troubleshooting everything, trying to do a rollback, restore the previous date, and then I decided to start uninstalling programs. And after I uninstalled that, updated software, everything started working again. Of course, it would work in safe mode, so I knew that the computer was functionable. Are these the boots that he had? In that scene? Was he wearing these big boots? You know, more or less, in reality, this is the suit that he ended up wearing for that entire time being sent up into space and then nearly dying and being rescued by Captain Marvel. This is what he was wearing. I thought it was more like a jogging suit, to tell you the truth. I don't remember. I didn't pay attention to the boots. This feels really heavy. Solidly built. Black shirt underneath it. I think this is what we see him in mostly. Yes, we want Google Chrome to work. I hate this computer. Down to the wire. Noble, welcome. Savon, Mason, how are you guys doing? Ian, hello to the UK. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Which body is it? Do you know? Z Nation, always good. That's some really weird episodes of plot twists. It is. It's pretty good. Like I said, we're fourth season in. So if you remember, a lot has gone on in that. It's clever and it's funny, and they do a pretty good job of it. And the good thing about zombie stories is, as long as you have the basic storyline of something has happened that has turned people undead into zombies, and they crave brain, and you have to kill them in a certain way, then that's pretty much all that's needed in a zombie storyline. You can really take it anywhere you want as to how it was caused, how the people were dealing with it, and what size of the apocalypse, and who all's left out of humanity, and how it's resolved, if it's even resolved. That's the beautiful thing about a zombie movie, unlike or television series. Unlike vampire movies, these idiots get in there and start rewriting the whole story of vampires, and I got a problem with that. If you're going to rewrite the story of vampires, like a Vampirella, for instance, that's a rewritten story of vampires. If you're going to rewrite the story of vampires, then don't call it a vampire. All right? Don't sit there and try to take Bram Stoker's take credit. Use his name to ride your story out. Gosh darn it! If it's not a vampire story, then don't say it is a vampire story. Say something else. Call it something else. But don't sit there and make up a vampire story. Throw Bram Stoker's name in the doggone thing, and then change all the doggone rules on what the requirements are, how you become a vampire, how vampires are affected by different things, and the reasons that vampires are. That's just plain wrong. Vampires, Bram Stoker's vampires are pretty written in stone, and I think anybody that deviates from that, they are such a poor judge of creating something that they can't do it. Kind of like taking Star Wars and screwing it up to your own agenda because you can't write your own science fiction fantasy. You know what I mean? But zombies, it's pretty much open territory. Like I said, the only thing that's written in stone is something has happened which is causing them from dying and becoming zombies. And you can explain it away any way you want. There's so many different ways of doing that, and it works. And Z Nation's pretty clever. Are these socks? Gloves? What the hell are these? No instructions. Hoodie, pants, t-shirt, shoes. Hoodie, pants, t-shirt, shoes. What the hell are these? Looks like there's possibly a thumb hold. And it looks like it's open on both ends. That could be for a sleeve. Did he have like a fingerless glove thing going on? Was he wearing fingerless gloves? Is that what this is supposed to be? Anybody? But no, like I said, we don't see Tony sporting his little arc reactor in this scene. So what I'd probably do is buy a new body for this. Maybe get a Fison or something. But at the same token, like I said, what's really irritating me about this, can you see that? That's busting clean open. And it's certainly not from it being posed in that position. I have a hard time believing that that little bit of a bend is going to cause that to break down. That's a nothing. But I'm sure you can see it, how that's just totally broken down there and coming apart. That's really unfortunate. All the way up the side, there where it's sewn. You see that? That's really kind of pisses me off. I don't know what to do about it. I really don't know what to do about that. Any thoughts? DJ Cuss's race suit with helmet is still available on eBay. It's very good and helmet is correct scale. All right. That's an alternative. I do hate having to buy a whole new suit. You know what I mean? It's like I've already bought my suit. I shouldn't have to be replacing it because it's crumbling apart. I thought your pics were awesome. You shared some pics of your Space 1999 and I believe it was Transformers, right? I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. Nice little collection you got going on there, CBS Sci-Fi. Look at the back, even the back. See if I can angle that so you can see that. It's just flaking up everywhere on here. And I noticed right here on this thigh, which is a straight, there's been no bend to it whatsoever, starting to come up. So WTF. Side of the knee. Golly. Just sitting here shaking him, right? As I'm taking him off. It's just crumbling off here. Literally just crumbling off. Looks like I've taken pepper and shaked it onto the table here. God. By the way, this is an adult collectible action figure style accessory for ages 15 and up. If you're under the ages of 13, you have to leave the channel. Child Online Privacy Protection Act forbids me from making videos to enticing people at 12 years old and younger to watch my videos. You're not allowed to watch my videos because they believe that your brain is underdeveloped and unable to make a decision as to whether or not what you are watching could cause you to make you want to buy it. So this video is not made for children. This video is made for adults because we are collectors of these action figures and their associated accessories. So for COPPA violation, I am not taking part in a COPPA violation. I see this is Tony with his this is the Iron Man 2 body. You can see where the chest is being integrated with the poison that he had. Was that this is what this is what this was? This is what this was. What it was. And stop watching Z Nation after the first episode. When yeah, they I was kind of thought that was interesting on how they played that as well. I guess they wanted to bring the character in sooner rather than later, so they accelerated her growth, and they really didn't give an example, an answer as to why that happened. But yeah, that's what they did. Lucy's character grows much quicker, and Murphy makes a comment about that, where he says, "I have a daughter who is almost my age." So they wanted to make the character more pivotal in the story, so they had to do that. And who's to say? I mean, again, the whole zombie thing is really loose. I don't believe there's an actual like zombie requirement. Unlike Dracula, the specific set of rules, in my opinion, that are required for a vampire movie if you're going to base it off of Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you're going to call it a vampire or Bram Stoker's Dracula, and by golly, you've got to follow a specific set of rules. I don't believe there's actually a specific set of rules that are absolutely required for a zombie movie, other than something happens, virus, people don't die, they become zombies. Huge apocalypse. Surprisingly enough, this body is still well. Still solid body. It's not all flippy floppy around for a Hot Toys body. We'll switch in the back for his light in the front. I guarantee you I can crack this open and put this on here, light it up, and I think I probably will. Not certain. No, not certain. Tony body is called the ILU 3000 Studio Tony Stark body with arc reactor. Awesome. And how much is it? $100? If baby becomes a zombie, it's still a baby, wouldn't be able to run. True. I don't. If you remember though, the child wasn't actually necessarily born. If you remember correctly, how the birth happened, the baby exhibited some extraordinary strength in that scene as well. But no, and that didn't go without comment in the series too. And like I said, the only thing I can imagine is that they wanted to, instead of draw it out over a 50-year period or 25-year period or however long it would take for this baby to grow into a mature adult, to be able to make decisions and be an effective player in this universe, they had to accelerate the age. That's why they chose that. No, just as zombies are not real in this per se, in this setting, the fact that that baby could start doing that, not real. So I suppose we should probably take Tony's head off before trying to shove it through the neck hole of his shirt. That'd make way too much sense. This Tony was from I think it's an armor mech test Tony. So I have, the Hall of Armor up there, and one Tony came where he's like building the suit, and another Tony came where he's like testing the Mark 42 prehensile suit. So I have the Mark 42 Tony up there. So this was the other Tony. I don't remember what he was called, but it's a Tony from Iron Man 2. You can see in his chest the poison that his arc reactor was giving him, that they had to cure him of in the creation of the new element in Iron Man 2. Remember, they gave him that shot when they're sitting there at Randy's Donuts, when Natasha Romanoff, Natalie Rushwood was, I think, her name when she was undercover at Stark Enterprises, as in the legal department, I believe was where she was working. And they found out that she was actually Natasha Romanoff, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Tony's like, "You're fired?" She's like, "Technically, I don't work for you." So that's the body here, that time frame. Yeah, man, you're making me want to get more Hot Toys, and I'm 47. I, oh my God, speaking of new figures, Silver Surfer looks really good. The only place I've seen him at is 1/6 Outfitters. It's like $200 or something to that effect. Comes in two styles. One is just the body with a surfboard and hands. The other one is the body, surfboard, hands, and this diorama display base. And he looks amazing. It's by ADD Toys or Ad Toys, which I've never heard of. And my only biggest concern is that it ends up being like the Mystique figure. So somebody, I don't remember who it was had promised a Mystique figure from what's her name? Well, from the X-Men movies, more or less. Not the recent ones, but the earlier ones where she was kind of like feathered or kind of like lizardy out or whatever. It was a great looking single non seam. It was a seamless, non-jointed. Well, had joints, but seamless body. Okay, and it sat there for like on for 2 years. They kept having problems with the body, kept having problems with the body, kept having problems with the body. So they redesigned it. Couldn't deliver what they said that they were going to deliver. I took a refund on my money because they just put her into one of the blue and yellow uniforms, which I didn't much care for. I wasn't that huge of a Mystique fan, but that seamless body was amazing. And so they ended up not delivering what they promised. That's my only fear on this Silver Surfer figure is that it's a seamless body from head to toe. So unless they are working with Fison slash TB League Executive Replicas, which works through Fison, or I think Jiao Doll, Giaou, however you would say that, makes a seamless body too. Unless they're working with them, it's hard to say how this is going to go. I did pre-order one, the luxury version with the diorama base. It looks beautiful, and I know very little about Silver Surfer. Obviously, he was in the Fantastic Four movie, um, but this piece looks amazing, and at that price, I it was like a no-brainer as far as I was concerned. So I went ahead and ordered that. What else was the other thing? There's something else that popped up. Of course, the new Stormtrooper. There's something else slipping my mind right now. Miles Morales, of course. We talked about that last week. Working on that video all week, but my computer quit functioning. I stopped doing any other work other than troubleshooting my gosh darn computer. You can imagine. I'm trying to tuck this shirt in, and I think I'm wasting my time. He's going to be putting a hoodie on, right? So who cares if his shirt's tucked in or not? Truthfully, we're going to need foot pegs, or we can just use these boots. I'm just going to use these boots. I mean, I don't even know what his boots were. Unlike Miles Morales, I know exactly what shoes he was wearing. Tony just had on black boots or shoes or something. So I'm not going to be a stickler for this. I have a hard time believing whether or not these are actually what he was wearing also. They may be. I have to find a non-battle damaged head, right? And some hands. Walking Dead. So I told my wife, I said that we should need to watch Walking Dead next. Good ways to soothe the fear of the coronavirus. Watching zombie movies. Outbreak. Shaun of the Dead. There's a good one. World War Z is actually pretty good. I've seen the first Zombieland. I did not see the sequel. Thought the first one was pretty funny, pretty clever. And gosh, I don't even know how many different zombie movies and series there have been over the 50 years or however long they've been making them. A lot, I imagine. Actually, are rules for zombies. It's like vampires. Most people just do what they want. With zombies and vampires, too, I guess zombies have been more successful with their changes. Well, who then is attributed with having holding the keys more or less to the zombie genre that the rules were set in place by? Obviously, Bram Stoker created the vampires. And so, if you're using Bram Stoker in your name, or if you're claiming that it's a vampire, by golly, you should be using Bram Stoker's rules. Who then, or which movie, is the first zombie movie which made the rules? So I'm curious about. All right, where's your elbow at, buddy? This would be the Infinity War Tony when we see him. I think first we see him talking to Pepper as they're exercising, running around the park. But he gives me the question about the boots, and they're talking about her having a child, and um, they then he goes to the what's it called, the Sancta Sanctorum there in New York, and speaking with Doctor Strange, and Bruce shows up talking about Thanos is on his way, and then he encounters Thanos, his Black Order outside, and he does his little tug on the little strings, and then presses his little button, his chest, and the nano suit becomes the Mark 50. That's where this is from. And I'm using currently Iron Man 2 body, but we'll be swapping it out and buying a new body, probably that one, or using a Fison body. There we go, found the elbow. This is a Super MC Toys F-080 Nano Combat suit. That I picked up for about 80 bucks. Arc Reactor Creation Set. Thank you. That's it. That is the one. That is the Tony I'm using. It's the Arc Reactor Creation Set. Thank you. Yes. Came with the Captain America prototype shield. Remember, Phil Coulson comes up and he says, you know what this is? Tony's like, yeah, it's exactly what I need. He uses it to prop up his field generator or whatever he was using to accelerate the protons or electrons to create his new element. That is what this body is from. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Robert, happy Saturday. Thomas, hello. LG 60-inch. What a pain to put together. Did you know all new TVs has legs and no pedestals anymore? They charge you extra. Sheesh. Yeah, they want you to hang it on the wall. Silver paint may wrinkle and detach. On this? On this? What silver paint are you talking about? The stand is good, but I'm afraid it will break off since the back of the TV is plastic. I'm not sure the stand will hold the weight. We bought a 70-inch Vizio TV about 5 years ago. And like you said, it has a little bit thin little feet. And so far, so good. We don't move it around, though. So it just sits where it is. Funny thing is that um, the TV stand that was on was not designed for a 70-inch television, and it is interesting or cool though that they're not as heavy as they were 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, really. You talking about the silver paint on this? That this will come off? Oh God, I hope not. I guess I have to have this unzipped enough to where his arc reactor is. Right? Jeez, all this little peppering from this suit. God, this really pisses me off. Let's get him a head and some arms. Happen to see the video link I sent you about the Flying Mark II full size they made from a 3D printer. I don't think I got that, Thomas. I'm sorry. Flying Mark II full size they made from a 3D printer. I I've seen a lot of full size suits, and I see some flying suits, and I don't remember if I'd seen the one that you're talking about or not. But I've seen a lot of that, and it's pretty cool. Saw the movie on the set. Cool. It gave away a 70 Vizio. What? Victor Romero, Victor Halperin's White Zombie 1932 was the first, but George Romero, Night of the Living Dead 1968, is the blueprint for most modern day zombies. Head scratch are still good. Downsides to 60. At least this finally has 4K, but don't see much difference. No, I don't see any difference in my 4K either. And now they are making 8K. And from my understanding, I think I'd watched something one time that said that our eyes are unable to see 8K. So the purpose of 8K obviously would be for editing and post production and stuff like that, where every time you make an alteration, or if you're zooming in on something to be able to see it better, you degrade the quality of your image. So I imagine if it's 8K, you can actually zoom it in twice as much and then be at a 4K image. But yeah, 4K is super sharp, but I can't tell the difference between a 4K and like a 2K, to tell you the truth. Did Tony have a hairpiece on his chest? Didn't Tony have that piece on his chest? This piece is what he had on his chest in Infinity War. And this came with the Super MC Nano combat suit. So I'm going to have to put this on it. This. White Zombie 1932 had slow moving, unthinking zombies, although no brain eating for the time. Okay, well, yeah, that would go with makes sense because they probably would have had an absolute fit if in 1932 they were having zombies eat people's brains. The times were very different back then. This is a mech test Tony or arc reactor creation set Tony body that I'm using, which has the um, light up chest arc reactor from Iron Man 2 in it, with the blue seams in his body where he was being poisoned by the arc reactor. But um, I somebody was saying that there's an ILU 3000 Tony body, which would be better probably for this. So I might look into that. Um, John Doe, thank you. I am well. I purchased Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 7 diecast. It is absolutely amazing. I agree wholeheartedly. Love my Mark 7. And I stand by my opinion that if you're only buying one Iron Man to represent your collection, You can't go wrong with the Mark 7. Any way you look at it. It was in multiple movies. It was in Avengers and in Iron Man 3. And I'm trying to remember if we've seen it in Endgame as well. When Tony and Ant-Man were up there in the top of Stark Towers, was Tony still in his suit? He wasn't, was he? When they got in the elevator and they told Bruce he had to use the stairs, or the Hulk to use the stairs, he wasn't in his suit anymore, was he? I don't think I don't remember if the Mark 7 suit made an appearance in Endgame or not. But it's classic Iron Man, and it comes with so many different accessories, so many possibilities of how you compose it. You can pose it with all the missiles on it. You can pose it battle damage. You can pose it without the missiles on it. You can pose it with the missiles opened up and ready to be fired on it. Or you can pose this specific diecast figure piece in its pod mode. So what is that? Five different ways or four different ways of posing the gosh darn figure, displaying it. So you can't go wrong with it. The Mark 7 diecast is a really good piece of work. The only other thing that I would say in regards to if you wanted to have a Tony to reflect the entire series would be the Mark 85, the final one. But that's kind of like the swan song thing. I don't know if you want to just tell the end of the story right off the bat. I think the Mark 7 does really red and gold, and it looks Iron Man-y without it being extremis looking. Extremis? Would that be right? For 4K, do I need to buy 4K movies? I don't know what movies are 4K per se. I don't know if Blu-rays are 4Ks, but I don't put very many movies in anymore. I just rent them, from Netflix or whatever. I sure hope you're well. I purchased. I don't know. We already got it. Did you get two? You think you need two? Yeah, you need four of them. You sold me on R2. Hopefully, pick him up. Sweet. Battle Damage Mark 7 made in-game appearance, I think. I'm thinking it did too. I'm going to have to watch that again. I'm thinking it was in there, but I don't remember for fact. It was definitely in Iron Man 3 and Avengers. It made its appearance in Avengers, and then we've seen it in Iron Man 3, where he used it to escape or actually do a health check on himself when he was suffering from his PTSD event at the restaurant, talking to Rhodey about things, and the little kids came up, showed him the pictures that they had drawn of him. It was in the game, old footage of them doing the rotating camera work around the Avengers Assemble. When they first show up to that time, I believe I have to double check. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you nailed it right there. So it's in three movies. So that makes it I would have to say, um, it wouldn't make it the most screen seen armor, but it could very well make it doggone close to the most screen seen armor, because obviously the Mark 1, 2, and 3 are in three movies as well. So, because all three movies that had the Hall of Armor in it, those were in it. Trying to remember if they displayed them in Avengers. I don't think the Hall of Armor was in Avengers. I think we just got the Mark 6 and the Mark 7 in Avengers, if I remember correctly. So the 1, 2, and 3, and the 7 are in the most movies. Mark 42. Mark 42 was in Spider-Man Homecoming and in Iron Man 3. Is it another one also? No, just two. So yeah, that'd be it. You need 1 to 7 all in die cast. Yeah, we need to get the Iron Man Mark One in die cast. And Howard promised that 5 years ago. So far he's delivered on that promise because we have 2 through 7 on in die cast. And truthfully, okay, so the Mark IV plastic versus the Mark IV die cast. And the Mark IV and the Mark VI truly are the same armor. As a matter of fact, in Iron Man 2, it was the Mark IV is sitting in the Hall of Armor. The little holographic display over it says awaiting upgrade. And all he did, literally, was when he invented the new element, if you remember, the hammer drones are destroying the expo, and he literally had to piece that together quickly, and he took the Mark IV and put the new chest piece on it because that's all he was doing was just upgrading that. So originally the Mark IV was a cleaned up version into the Mark VI, and that's why they're identical suits. Um, Whether or not the lasers were on the Mark IV, I don't remember enough to be able to say that they were or were not based off of the images of the wrist, but they are definitely on the Mark VI. Uh, but the when they made the diecast 4 and 6 and 5, they made a lot of changes to them. But the Mark 7, instead of it being improvements like we got with the 4, 5, and 6, Mark 7, they rewrote the character. They rewrote the figure. When they made the Mark 7 diecast, they must have had a bunch of errors in their original design because this is not even designed the same. The flaps in the back are different, and it's which is probably the biggest difference, I would say, or all the flaps in the back are different. Oh, and the missiles on the shoulders are different too. So it's almost like as if they put together something, somebody okayed it at Marvel or Feige's office or Disney or whomever it was that was involved in the creation of the Mark 7 plastic. The Mark 7 diecast is like a whole new schematic. It's almost like two different suits, totally. But we have to accept that it's not. That it's still the Mark 7. It's just that the plastic one is not evidently true to screen, whereas the diecast one is. That doesn't make me for 1 second think I need to get rid of my Mark 7 plastics. It still displays as a good representation of the suit. And I have it up there in the Hall of Armor. The Mark 7 plastic one does. And then I've got the diecast, one of them in there as a pod, and the other one I have up here with the other Mark 7s in, I suppose you would say battle damaged mode, because all of the missiles and rockets are off of him. But the diecast one is a huge improvement over the entire design of the suit. So the diecast Mark IV and Mark VI and the Mark V are huge improvements due to the knowledge or the abilities of Hot Toys to create a figure. They do more things. They light up properly. They are much better designed, properly scaled, a huge improvement. The Mark III is also an improvement, but I think even that diecast figure needs to be redone. Mark 7 is a whole nother ball of wax. A whole nother ball of wax. But no, I don't think your Mark 7 plastics have become worthless. Just like I really don't think the Mark 4s, 5, and 6 plastics have become worthless either. I would think they probably I don't know if I'm going to say that the value of them isn't the same as the value on the diecast now. I don't believe that the plastics are worth less than purchase price on them. I don't think it's junk. I don't think you should get rid of them because it still is a representation of the suit, even the Mark 7s. But definitely diecast is the way to go if you're buying just one figure, no doubt about it. Why use the damage ratio suit for an extreme body damage, Tony? Just rip it up more. You know what? That's a really good idea. Um, Put a little fire on it, right? Flame it up, because then you have to pat the flame off of the arm before we put the suit on, because he was kind of getting beat up, wasn't he? Yeah. Before he's like, give me the suit, give me the football, right? So I guess that would work. The suit wouldn't have been in perfect condition, because this thing's definitely battle damaging it up. I mean, look at this. Now that it's off the body. You see that? That's the butt. That's the right leg. Look at that. Sheesh. That one piece is the worst on the whole body. That one piece. All the way up. All the way up the side there. Jeez. Jeez, jeez, jeez. Yes, I just checked. It was like I said. What did you say? Got 5 box DVDs and Blu-ray. I'm keeping them since Disney's archiving Die Hard, Predator, Alien, etc. Like they do these Disney stuff. Don't trust them. I wish kept my old original Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, because it's not the same movie. They redone it. They redone the movies, so they have changed. Let's get ahead and hands on Tony here. Land speeder, juice passing. Jet to the land speeder. I don't know if I have them on the T for Tony or with the Iron Man, my Tony's. T Thanos, T Thor, V Emerald. So he's with the Iron Man. I've got to get a display case for this. Build one. Find me a fish aquarium. I think the Mark 7 might still be available. Check it out at bigbadtoystore.com. No, the Mark 7 I think is long gone. Brand new. I think the Mark 85 is the only one that's still available. I think the Mark 50 is sold out too. Mark 43 is available. Mark 47 is available. Tony Starks. He's in the bottom of the Iron Man box. My Iron Man's bigger boxes for them. I really need to pick up an IKEA Detolf. Okay. That's a little battle damaged head sculpt there. I don't think we're going with battle damaged. And these are necks. So we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. But that's not a neck. part of the body. I don't want to put a battle damaged head on this though. These are my choices. I don't have on bodies now. I think I'll just continue with the head that I was using. This Iron Man 2 head for now. Use the body for it. And give him a couple of hands here. Give him a hand. We'll go with just relaxed hands. I'm really under the impression these are supposed to be fingerless gloves. I don't know, guys. Did he have fingerless gloves on? Is that what these are? I actually have a VHS of a couple of movies. One is of the original Blade Runner on VHS. And I also have a movie called Silent Running on VHS. Really good little movie that probably the majority of you have never even heard of. Really good little movie. And if the majority of you have, please forgive me for insulting you. Problem is, I don't know where my VCR is. Doggone thing walked out of the house, evidently. I had the Mark V diecast up for sale, but I would sell any of these, I guess, to make bills. Um, if you wish to buy the Mark III diecast, I'd be willing to sell it. I got the Mark 50. I do have the Mark 50. That's another one that you need multiples of. I had the Mark 50 with the 50 accessory kit. So I have the Mark 50 displayed with the turbo boost or whatever on his feet. So I have them displayed. Mark 50 is definitely one that you need to have multiples of for fact. What price should I buy the Mark 7 for? The markup on eBay is high. When the doggone thing came out, it was like $450 or something, plus tax, plus shipping. So if you were to buy it brand new from the Hot Toys distributors at the time, barring a coupon or discount, you were going to pay $500 after it's all said and done. So if you think you're going to be getting it for less than that, I would say you are probably misguided in your thought process. But if you're able to find it for less than that, then I would say buy, buy it instantly. But if it's damaged, then I would say pass on it. It's kind of like, in cars, you'll always see somebody out there selling an old Corvette or an old Camaro or an old Mustang or some vehicle that was a project car or something that they started working on and now they're getting rid of. And they always have some song and dance and sad story and whatever else as to why they're getting rid of it. And then if you were to buy it for this really bargain basement price and you take it home, you find out, well, the reason they were selling it for such a price is because the block is broken or the frame is damaged beyond economical repair, and I would hate for somebody to spend $500 on a Mark 7 diecast or spend even $300 on one because it's for like a good price or something, just to find out that it's totally broken and damaged up. So inspect it closely when buying from third-party resellers. Fingerless gloves. It's got to be what this is. I paid $450 for mine. Some out there now for that would not pay more than $560. Well, you know, it falls back into you'll pay what you want. You'll pay what market demands if you want to own it. For instance, you guys let John Deek know that somebody just bought a Star Wars Kenner action figure carded Empire Strikes Back card Jawa for $43,000. $43,000 for a figure that cost them, if they probably less than $5, probably $3. They sold it for 40. Somebody bought it for $43,000. So it's one of like a handful that are known to exist. $43,000 for a carded Jawa. $43,000. And evidently not this exquisitely rare one, but regular vinyl cape Jawas carded sell for $11,000. Figure that you paid less than $5 for. Hell, you probably picked it up in bargain basement for like $2 or less back then. People are selling them for tens of thousands of dollars. So that's what happens. If you want something that only a handful of people have, by golly, you got to pay what they're selling it for. You know, if you want to entice me to get rid of a figure that I really like, you're going to have to pay for it. If it's a figure that I don't care for, or there's millions of them out there, or whatever, then you're going to get a good price on it. If it's a very popular figure, Mark 7 diecast, I would truthfully like to own 5 of them. 5. To be able to display them in every single mode. So I think they will continue to hold a good value. There's really no other suit like it. It really isn't. Is Iron Man with the gauntlet out? That's the Mark 85, and it is not, and it's still for pre-order. It is not out yet. Pre-order is. Fingerless gloves. Thank you, Aiden. I think this was like $80. Just the clothing accessory. No body. And I'm currently sliding a Iron Man 2 Tony Stark Arc Reactor Creation Set body onto it. And I will probably replace it with some other body or something later on down the road. This is kind of like a last minute buy. It's something I'd wanted ever since it first came out. I didn't have the money to buy it when it first came out. I ended up missing it. You know, it's like right now, there's a bunch of stuff I would like to buy that I still haven't bought. And a lot of pre-orders that are coming out that I don't know how I'm going to pay for. Laserdisc collection. Holy smokes! And I don't even remember what quality that was. I think Laserdisc at the time was 500 lines of horizontal resolution. Is that right? Which I don't know how that equates into 720, 2K, 4K, 8K. I don't know how that equates. All right, fingerless gloves are on the hands. Wow. So you have the original Star Wars complete with all the little errors of TIE fighters flying over different objects in the screening, in the bog fights, and what was his name? David Prost at the end of Return of the Jedi, or do you have just the original Star Wars, not the whole trilogy on VHS? I had old VHS of Return of Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. I love a Corvette too. I've always wanted a Corvette, and I gotta truthfully tell you, when I bought this Mercedes for my wife, I had my eyes on a Corvette. But I bought the Mercedes for her because she was still driving at the time, before all of her medical conditions, everything happened to her. And so that's why I bought the Mercedes for my wife. But I was looking at Corvettes and big Ford F-150 pickup trucks. I'm very pleased with that Mercedes. I still am liking the new Corvettes. I don't think anyone's taken delivery of one, have they yet? Maybe some people have, but they certainly aren't in the showroom floors yet. The 2020 Corvettes. Holy smokes. My favorite Corvette is a 1958 Corvette. If I could have one Corvette, it'd be a 1958. I don't even care the color. Black, red, white, blue, wouldn't matter. That's my favorite Corvette. A lot of great ones out there. 63 split window coupe, of course. 72 or 4, I forget, which has the side pipes on it. 427, I think, with side pipes. ZR1, the original 1990, 89, 90 ZR1, or the Grand Sport, 92 Grand Sport. Would be cool. But definitely only one Corvette, 1958. For fact. So this looks well. Quite impressed with this. It's what I remember from the movie. It looks good. I'm glad it was available to be bought on eBay by third-party resellers. And I don't know whether or not I paid more than what I would have bought when I bought it new. Should I have bought it new from 1/6 Kid or 1/6 Outfitters or whoever it was that was selling them back then? I don't know if I made out, but he's definitely a needed piece to the collection as far as I'm concerned. But no, I don't believe the Mark 7 diecasts are coming down in price at all. Because, like I said, there's so many ways you can display them, for fact. And in order to be able to display the pod, it requires an entire Mark 7 diecast. So you have to literally just take a figure and set it aside to turn it into a pod. So if you're going to display that, you still need a Mark 7 to be able to display it into the Mark 7 mode. So you got to buy two of them just to display the pod and a Mark 7. And then if you want to use battle damaged, clean suit, or pre-deployment of his missiles, or after deployment of his missiles, or face plate ripped off as he's dying there and Hulk has to scream him back to life. There's so many different alternatives of how you can display him. The Mark 7 is such a versatile suit. Totally, totally versatile suit. I don't think that they're going to be coming down in price. I don't believe for one second they're going to redo it again. I think what we got is what we got. I think that is it. So if you want it, you're going to have to spend some money on it. And they were out there for a long enough time. Not like the Mark 47 that kind of came. The collectors are like, yeah, I'm going to snatch that up. And then people discovered Hot Toys and they went crazy over the Mark 47. they didn't make enough of them the first time, and now they've made them again, and I don't understand that. I don't have an answer to that. My theory is that we're going to see it in Black Widow. That's my theory. Um, because I don't believe for one second that Hot Toys loves you so much that they're releasing a Mark 47 to keep you from having to pay scalper prices. Because if that was the case, they would re-release a Mark 3 plastic version, which would cost them pennies on the dollar to have the Secret Project out again, which sells for $2,000 easily. I'm telling you, I hate to burst your bubble. Hot Toys doesn't love you that much. They really don't. Mark 7 new on eBay, $450. $450, 15 PP. Hope it helps you. There you go. And like I said, I think that's pretty much what we paid when we bought it new without coupons or anything along that line. So I think it was like $440 or $430 plus tax and shipping and handling. So it ended up being around $500 after it's all said and done. They charge you 10. If they charge you 10% tax on $450, it's $45. So automatically you're at $500. So if you expect anyone to sell it for less than $500, that's a huge expectation on somebody. Christian Bale will be playing a villain in Thor: Love and Thunder, confirmed by actress Tessa Thompson. Wow. I would really like to see Valkyrie in her Valkyrie armor. I've ordered a white horse, a Pegasus horse, 1/6 scale, in hopes of her getting a Valkyrie in that outfit. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I certainly hope it does. Pretty powerful character Tessa Thompson plays as Valkyrie. Pretty powerful character, um, especially when they're talking about women empowerment and I can't imagine why they wouldn't make a powerful Valkyrie figure. I can't imagine it for one second. I loved her in the movie. What's the cheaper diecast? What's the cheaper diecast? What is the cheaper diecast? What's this kit? Edith for Tony. The glasses. I need to, right? 100% for sure. A collector will pay what he wants to get that figure into his or her collection, as long as you're happy with the deal. Absolutely. And I have paid a lot of money for a lot of figures that I had to buy from other collectors and or third party, and it's very rare that I get what I would consider an absolute deal. Electro was an absolute deal. $50 is what I ended up paying for him from Big Bad Toy Store because of the coupons. Same thing with the Chitauri Warriors. I think I ended up paying like $100 a piece for each one of those guys because of the discounts and coupons. Other than that, it's pretty rare to get a really good deal on something. I think a Mark 33, I got a good price on it as well at one point. The cheaper die cast. Fully aware my option is deeply unpopular, but I like knowing my collectibles have an element of exclusivity if it's not that I am concerned with what other people have in their collection. No, I'm with you, Aiden. 100%. I want my collection to be my own. 100% agree, and that's what you need to do. You need to buy what speaks to you. For real. I mean, so truthfully, I'll give you a little sweep here of the room, just a little sweep. For those of you who haven't seen like the full-on room, I'm planning on picking up the 4K and making a full-on room tour. So let me do this. Let me switch the camera around. So at one point or another, they were or are Avengers. Okay. You see Maria Hill back there. Tony and his Mark 48. No. 46. 46. Agent Phil Coulson, Winter Soldier, Nick Fury, Ant-Man in many incarnations, including one on Hawkeye's arrow there. Hawkeye, Falcon, Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, Hulk, Yondu, Gamora. I need a Drax, Bruce, Thor. I've got we have Feist Deaths. Executive. We have the Vampirellas. Right there. Here's the Deadpool shelf. Pretty pleased with my Deadpool collection. Cable and Colossus, Lady Deadpool. Kid Pool, Dog Pool, Squirrel Pool, Head Pool, Pikachu Pool, Dusty version Deadpool, Casual Wade. Over here are the Guardians of the Galaxies Volume 2 with Teen Groot, Rocket, Baby Groots, and Yondu with the new head sculpt. The new arrow controller. And here is kind of a hodgepodge. We have Infinity War Cap and Black Widow, Mark 50, Thanos Infinity War, and Doctor Strange from Doctor Strange. And I enjoy just coming in here, relaxing, and enjoying my figures. For real. If it's something that I have no passion over, you don't want to collect something that you don't look at and get any type of an emotion out of it. These Iron Man suits on the top shelf are arranged in order of how they made their appearance in Iron Man 3. So if you remember the Mark 17, which is this guy, right there, the red and gold one with the flame coming out of his chest, was the first one to appear, and then they flew beside him and made their appearance. And so from him on his left is the Mark 40 shotgun and the Mark 35 red snapper. To his right is the Mark 39 Star Boost, Mark 33 Silver Centurion, Mark 15, Mark 30 Blue Seal, Mark 21 Midas, and the Mark 41 prototype prehensile suit. And right below that it was my Holy Grail shelf. I sold my Mark III that I had there. But you got the Mark III Stealth, Mark IV Secret Project. I have a Loki that I made from Avengers, the Neon Tech 4 and 6, and the Diecast 6. All right, next to it is the Mark Stealth, or chocolate, however you wish to call it, and then the white chocolate or the Arctic, and the Mark 7 diecast. And then here's the Mark 5 shelf with the plastic facing the Whiplash and the diecast standing behind it. And then, of course, that other space would be for the racing suit. And over here is the Spider-Man shelf. You really can't see everything over there. And Johann Schmidt, Red Skull, Captain American Concept, and Electro. Here's the Ant-Man shelf. Owned the R2-D2 shelf. Astromex. The Rebellion side. And Jean-Luc Picard with the Imperial side. Some Ultrons, Iron Legions, Stan Lees. I need lights for these. Over here is the 43, 45, and 46 concept. And Tony in his Avengers suit from Endgame, and right here is Poison, Nier Automata, Daredevil from Netflix. I Need a Light, and down there is Velma and Daphne, 300 Spartacus, and up top is Wakanda, Black Panther, and T'Chaka, and Shuri. Mark 40, the War Machines. Tony testing his prehensile suit. Notice there's no Mark III in the display case. So there's a Pepper and an Obadiah. The Obadiah head sculpt came out of the Ironmonger, which is in the other room. 4, 5, 6, and 7 plastic. That's the 7 plastic there. And the Hulkbuster 2. And 10 Rings. Gosh, what's his name? The Mandarin, which I love, and I got a great price on him from Big Bad Toy Store, brand new. Because nobody wanted to buy him, which I understand because he's awesome. Mark 9, Mark 15 Retro, the red and gold. Mark 20 Python, Mark 23 Shades Out of Order. Mark 21 Chrome Midas, an unbelievable piece. One of my faves. That guy right there. That's one of my favorite pieces. He looks amazing in his chrome plating. Mark 22 Hod. 24 Tank. Right back there. 25 Striker. 26 Gamma. 27 Disco. 36 Peacekeeper, I forget. 41 Retro, red and gold prototype. I think this is a Bullet Head made this Venom. Love this Venom. He is freaking amazing. And that's the Mark IV diecast. Tony having a little donut inside Randy's donut. That's the pose there. And that's a Mark 42 that I took and cut the head out of to make it appear that it's going down into the Hall of Armor. Because this really is just like places that don't even own a home yet. And then we have Ragnarok Hulk, Ragnarok Thor, Mark 38 Igor or Igor. Igor is what Tony calls him. The hands of Ikon, Doctor Strange hands. And there's a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet. Of course, the 1/6 scale Land Speeder, a 1/6 scale Camaro, and a 1/6 scale Formula One or Monaco Grand Prix, whatever, race car. And this, not considering the other room, which has the pieces in it. Let's get this turned around again. And I enjoy just coming in here and relaxing and just looking at my figures, if nothing else. Each one is posed / and or displayed into a scene, which to me brings back a memory of the movie or something. And you have to buy what you want. Because if you look over at it and there's no connection there, there's nothing that gives you any reason why you even have that piece on the shelf. You literally just wasted money on something that gives you nothing. You bought something that does nothing for you. For fact, doesn't do a thing for you. So you buy what you want, no matter what anybody else says, and you pay what you want to pay for it. Again, no matter what anybody else says. There's a reason why I don't have an Avengers Loki, because I haven't agreed to pay the money for it yet. I don't think that it's a bad price. I just don't have the money to pay for it. Same reason with a Drax. Same reason with a Netflix Punisher. These are pieces that are still my holy grails. They really are. I don't have the money to buy those pieces, so they are not in the shelf. I don't have a Drax. I really need a Drax. I don't have Avengers Loki, and I don't have a Punisher, Netflix Punisher, Frank Castle. I would love to have one of those. I need to get another Hela. I need an Odin. I need another Mark III. It's funny, I call these needs. They're wants. They're not needs. I need more Mark 50s. I need more Mark 7s. I need more Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Mans. I need about 3 more of those. I need my Black Widows. I need to have a full-on collection of Black Widow. I need to finish up all the Black Widows I have. I have Civil War, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Black Widow. And I really would like to get all the Black Widows. I really wasn't that thrilled with her when I first started collecting, and now I'm like, okay, I need a full-on Black Widow collection. And same thing with Captain America. I need a full-on Captain America collection. I really do. These are all important needs. Cheapest diecast probably was War Machine 2. You think? Recently pushed me away from Hot Toys quite a lot and into the hands of the statue game. Same characters and enthusiasm, but 0 reissues so far. If it's turning to dust and I enjoy it, I'd up my care game. I would dump it for a new one. I would up my care game. I wouldn't dump it for a new one. Winter Hot Toys Iron Man diecast Mark 7 should come up. Good luck. Nice setup. Thank you, CBS Sci-Fi. Thomas, your setup is perfect and nothing is in a glass case for the most part, and you have no dust from what I can see. Oh, Thomas, they are very dusty. They're very dusty. Oh, yeah. I just spend all of the money on the figures and not on the display cases. The collection grew larger than the room. So, if I had done it right, I would have bought a figure and then bought a display case, a Detolf, and then filled the Detolf up. I would have bought my first Hot Toy figure, which I think it was the Mark 17 Heartbreaker. It might have been the Mark 20 Python or the Mark 21 Midas. I don't remember which one was my first one. Could have been the Red Snapper. Around that time frame was when I bought my first Hot Toy. And if I was doing it right, I would have bought a Detolf at that point and put him in there. And that never happened. And instead of spending money on cases, I took some bookshelves that we had laying around, and we had a lot of technical manuals on them and things that we no longer needed, and just converted those over into cases. And it was great holding the pieces. But man, I don't know. Dust comes from God knows, who knows where all the dust truthfully comes from. People claim it comes from off of our bodies and whatever else, but I don't believe that totally truthfully being the case. I have no idea. I really don't. But they are very dusty. They sure are. If we were to zoom in on them, you would see the dust. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Embarrassed to say. You almost have to dust them like once a month. And over 200 figures. A lot. It's a lot of dusting. All the box art is really cool, so they display nice, but I never take the figure out of the box because I'm afraid of dust and ruining the value of the piece. What do you think? Well, there are some pieces that have the batteries in them, and these batteries have a tendency to explode. So you don't want to leave the batteries in your figures. So specifically, if you have anything older than Mark 17, you definitely want to unbox it for a fact. Another thing in regards to displaying your figures, you can display them how you wish, keep them in the box if you desire. But man, I enjoy posing them and changing them up. Some of the figures never get reposed. Some of them get put into their position and that's how they stay forever. And I guess that's kind of unfortunate. But some of them get put into some other display on occasions, and they'll be reposed into a new display. Other times, seeing the figure really is better than looking at a box because you get to see the memory again from the movie. You know what I mean? If you want to just look at box art, You could just buy posters and such to be able to display that. So I'm all for displaying the figures. I'm all for taking them out of the box and displaying them. And I keep the boxes. I keep the Hot Toys box, and I keep the brown shipper. I have a couple figures that I bought third party that didn't come with brown shippers, but other than that, if it came with the brown shipper, I had the brown shipper for it. I don't know why, but it seems people, should they ever decide to sell them, are able to sell them for more in the brown shipper. Plus, I suppose if you're storing your box back in the brown shipper, you have a less chance of it getting damaged. I was breaking apart the brown shippers and flattening them and then storing the boxes. Some of the boxes got a little bit scratched up and whatnot in that process. So I've started then putting the boxes back into the brown shippers and storing them in that capacity. But it takes up a freaking garage just to store empty boxes. My goodness. Plus, I originally was keeping the accessories in each respective box, and then would go and crack open the box if I wanted to change hands or something. So I bought these little plastic boxes to hold all the accessories for all the figures. So a lot of storage going on. Keeping them in the box causes its own issues, as Savon says. You get single display cases, about 6 inches tall from eBay, around 15 pounds, and with a bit of glue, they seal the figure in so they've kept mine dust free. There you go. Definitely. There's lots of ways and things that you can do to display your figures for fact. And in all truthfulness as well, believe it or not, in the boxes that open up and have a plastic screen so you can see into the boxes it's displayed, you can literally take everything out of that, put him back in on his display stand back in that box, and then tape that up, and that box would be a display box as well. Should you so desire, it is capable of displaying them in their box with the plastic screen on them and setting it up, and that'll keep them out of a dust-free environment as well. Believe it or not, that can be done as well. Retro is not die cast. The first die cast was, I think, a Robocop, but the first Iron Man die cast, I think, was the War Machine Mark II or Iron Patriot or Hot Rod. They all came out about the same time. They're all pretty much the same outfit. So the Mark 22 Hot Rod is die cast. And then the Mark 42 is die cast. So in the progression of things, Mark 22 and Mark 42, and then from 42 on are all die cast, except the 44 Hulkbuster and the Hulkbuster 2, which some of you are calling the Mark 48, is not die cast. Other than that, from 42 on are all die cast. And then they've reissued the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 as die casts. So you can either get the plastic versions of those, or you can get the die cast versions of those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Mark 22, Mark 42 on up, except for the Mark 44 Hulkbuster and the Hulkbuster 2 are not die cast. Those are die cast pieces. And then, but I always put them back in. Netflix Punishers on eBay now for 300 pounds. What does that equate to? Like 450 bucks? Yeah, and I have no problem paying that price. I just don't have $450 to pay for it. It's just going to have to sit. It's a good price. And it's a great looking piece, and it really needs to be next to Daredevil. They really need to be with each other. It's a great looking piece. I've got the Punisher War Machine on order. One thing I don't understand on that is there's no chest arc reactor in the Punisher War Machine. So I'm curious how the hell he powers the War Machine up. My figures get reposed every 3 months. I like to think they're reacting to a new arrival, but it keeps it fresh. There you go. And that's the whole thing. We do this because we love it, and we buy the figures because we can repose them. Otherwise, we would be buying statues. And there's nothing wrong with statues. Some of them are amazing. I just collect action figures. I do have some statues, if you will. For instance, Gentle Giant made these guys. He's not posable. 1/6 scale dog pool. 1/6 scale squirrel pool. So, I mean, I'm not sold on specifically it being a articulated figure in order for it to be in my collection. If the odds of them not making an articulated figure are so great and I want to have it in there, I'm going to buy it. Um, and some pieces are very articulation. For instance, the Hulkbuster 2 and the Mark 35 Red Snapper. Both of them are not as articulated as they probably could be, or as well as their siblings are, if you will. But for instance, they made the Justice League from the Justice League movie, but they didn't make Cyborg as a figure. Cyborg, good luck to you on that. For you, and do what makes you happy. Aiden, you can't, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. You got to make what's right for you. And there is no right, it really isn't. It's all about, again, like I said, when I enjoy just looking at my figure sometimes. I get great satisfaction. If I'm like totally stressed, come in here, have a seat, and then get stressed when I see the dust. But no, I just enjoy them and will repose them, especially when a new figure comes in. I might decide that something doesn't work well the way that it is. Vampirella is still standing up without figure stands, knock on wood. I did see him take a dive off of there one day after reposing them. Man, looking back at that Caroline Monroe Vampirella, $300. The Jose Gonzalez Vampirella is selling for like $150, and the bodies are the same, accessories are the same between those two figures. It's just the Caroline Monroe head sculpt, and you get two of them. That's what you're paying for. You're essentially paying. Essentially, what you're paying is $200 for head sculpt. You're paying $100 for head sculpt. If you want to get the Caroline Monroe Vampirella, and people balk at paying a lot of money for a head sculpt. For instance, I customized a lot of these Iron Man head sculpts and put Tony heads in them and open them up the helmets, and they open and close because Hot Toys didn't release them. And people have asked me, will you sell that to me? And they're thinking $40. I'm like, dude, the helmet costs $80 by itself. And then the Tony head costs another 40 to $80. And then I've got to disassemble it and reassemble it and spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing that. And they get scared to death when I tell them $250 for one of those. It's beyond their comprehension, I guess, that it would be worth that. But it is. It's a total one-off, and it's what a head sculpt is. So the Caroline Monroe, if you want to get that Vampirella, you're going to drop $300. And I haven't pulled the trigger on that. I have a hard time spending $300 on it because it really is the same figure as the Jose Gonzalez. But that Caroline Monroe head sculpt looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. For fact. It's London, UK, though. I'm not sure what that means. Should I start moving my TBD figures regularly to prevent damage to the joints? If you remember when you opened the Vampirella, I say you need to be careful with the fights and figures. Period. Um, Here's evidence of how stuff can degrade, and I don't have any of my Fisons degrading yet, but I have seen people that have shown them degraded where they just start disintegrating. The silicon bodies on them just start falling apart, and that concerns me a lot. really does. And I don't know how best to prevent or keep that from happening, or even to repair it, should it ever happen down the line. But I'm hoping that it doesn't ever happen as such. I mean, there's some plastic figures and toys out there that have been around for a long time that haven't fallen apart. You pay for them, enjoy them. Exactly. Hot Toys should do an Iron Man where the faceplate opens and closes over the Tony face. Lord knows how, but it would be something special. They do that a lot. Exactly what they do, Aiden. Where the faceplate opens. Oh, you mean like it does it automatically? I don't think Hot Toys has done that automatically on anything. But no, if you get a head sculpt with a helmet, the faceplate opens and you can close it. And as a matter of fact, on the Mark 40 shotgun, with it closed, the eyes light up. Normally, if you want an eyes light up head sculpt, there's no Tony inside of it. It's when you put the faceplate on it, then the eyes don't light up. But on the Mark 40 shotgun, they made it so the eyes light up even with the faceplate closed. It's really cool. Mark 40 shotgun is a really cool figure. Certainly is. IKEA desktop put weather. I've seen a video or someone put weather stripping around the door to make it airtight, more or less, or dust resistant, I would say. And a coin over the hole in the top, no dust will get in. Yeah, there you go. I've seen a video on that. And the IKEAs, I think they've come down because I think when I first started collecting, they were pushing $100, and now they're like around 50 or something to that effect. So they're very reasonably priced, and I keep going back and forth on spending the $50 on buying one or however much they are now, and I just haven't pulled the trigger. The other thing is that I tell myself, maybe an IKEA isn't going to cut it. I really need to design my own cases to be able to display these in. I've seen Modu cases, very expensive, but I believe, and you have to assemble that yourself. But I believe if I'm having to assemble a case, I might as well assemble one the way I want it. Build it myself, more or less. Go to Home Depot and get the pieces to it, or whatever, wherever you are. But in the meantime, no case. They're all just sitting out. But no, the dust is minimal. They haven't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. They haven't been cleaned in probably 2 years. That's the truth. Truthful. I may have come by with a can of air maybe 6 months ago and blowed them all off, but it doesn't necessarily de-dust them. So in 2 years' time and or 6 months, if you count the canned air, not that bad, considering. But the dust collects on them every single day. Every day the dust collects. Every day. Breaking down, or what are you talking about? The TV League figures handling them too much, breaking down? They claim that by posing them, like for instance, if you stretch your arm out, you notice how there's no bend there, but then as soon as you stretch it up, you get the bend. The same way with the Fison figures, and so they claim where those bend is where you're going to get your breakdown. So what they encourage you to do is to pose them into a position so that there's the least amount or no bend whatsoever, no creases being created in the position of the figure. As you pull it up, it creases because it's a seamless body, just like you are. There's no seam there. And so this is where they claim that the TB League or the FISA figures start breaking down at, is right there. So by keeping your figures into a position where they're posed as such, so that there's very little minimal creasing in them, supposedly they won't break down. I don't know. So I try to keep that in mind as I'm posing them and keep their arms straight and to the best of my ability, but also putting a pose into it. There are times when you really do want a seamless body, like Thor's arms, Gamora. You definitely want to have a seamless look for that. It just looks smoother. But when you have a figure that you can't see his arms, who cares if he's seamless or not? Truthfully, you can't see him. What does it matter what's underneath? 27, positions just in the arm. That's fine by me. There'll be a thousand factors that disintegrates figures from handling, who's handling, and how greasy your hands are, the sun, the heat, the humidity or lack thereof. All of those could cause that. Plus, like I said, temperature and so on. I have one of those IKEA cases, but I didn't know they upgraded it. Thanks. No, they didn't upgrade it. You can upgrade it, like you said, with and you do that yourself. Buy you the weather stripping and put it around the cracks there. It will make it. Looks like it said we dropped out, and it says that we're back. If you're like in a high dusty area, if you live out a place where there's a lot of dust, then yeah. My my, my armor up here, they have a little plastic um, piece in front of them, and there's gaps on both sides that are probably a third of an inch or more. Maybe mm, um, the thinner the area, the dust could enter into the case to get on the figure, the less amount of dust is going to be on there. So a Detoff, even though it's not dust proof, is going to get it's going to a huge majority of dust in the first place. I mean, huge majority of dust. And so if you're somebody who wants to handle your figures a lot anyhow, or reposition them, then I don't know if going through all the work of having to put it into or dust proofing your Detoff is actually going to be a requirement or even worth it. If you're in there no matter rehandling it every 3 months because you want to repose them or reposition them into the case, I don't think there's going to be that much dust getting into a Detoff to warrant that type of problem. Based off of, again, the amount of dust that's on my figures of them being out and about.